Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, Ed.
All right. So I don't think I've been saying this a lot, but I said it last week one time. But my book's coming out February 14th. It'll be out. Can you see that? Well,
Like you say, yeah, maybe put it closer to your head. Maybe it'll show up.
there you go. Finance for Freedom, Building
Yeah.
Personal Wealth or Home Ownership will be coming out February 14th, Valentine's Day
Yeah.
is when it's released on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, everywhere you'll be able to find it.
Are you recommending that as a Valentine's gift for your lady?
Yeah, I think so. I think they love that with some flowers or something.
Of course.
Well, it depends. Are you trying to get them a house? I think they'd love the fact of you guys learning on how easy it is to get into a home, how to understand the process. It's not a super big book. I think it's 160 some pages, and it's not double spaced. But what it is the process of what we do for getting a home loan is not that big of a deal, or buying a house. People try to make it bigger than it needs to be, and I wanted to make it simpler so people understood it, and that's the whole purpose. Kind of go over what we look at: assets, credit, down payment, what you need to know about that. There's different loan programs in there, but I don't fully go into each one like for pages of it, because it's not up to the people reading the book to understand what loan program they need. It's the lender and the loan officer or the broker to come up with that and help you figure that out. And that's why I say in the book, you don't need to remember all these. This is just what's out there available to you. It's our job to find out what's the best program for you. And so that's what the book's about. And it goes through some different scenarios, talks, some of my clients are in it. Names changed to protect the innocents. But a lot of them are in there, and I've had the person who edited it had one of their copywriter people read it, because that's what they do, right? And she's like, this is helping me because I'm buying a house in the next year, and this really helped me a lot. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So like I said, financial freedom, building personal wealth through home ownership. Where's that? Right. See, it's hard here with this look. Is that better at all? No.
Something about those lights, man.
Oh, there. It's just like me. Run through the back. I'll put it behind me starting in a couple weeks.
You even got the same grade, the same areas on your beard, man.
It is me. I told you.
Yeah.
And the problem is so that picture was taken during the winter, right? Because I only grow this during the winter into January, and then it gets to a point where it carries so much water in it when you take a drink or whatever you're drinking, then it's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Or actually, what'll happen is I'll get sick, and I won't get into anything else other than that. Like you have a cold or whatever. I'm like, okay, I got to trim this up because this is not what I want to do.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
You know how it is. Anyway, so that's what I have going on. It will help a lot of people. And the first day we're doing a discount for the ebook, like 99 cents. So that way you can get the ebook right away, read on it. Leave me a review about that, so you're a bona fide buyer.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I just want to help people, and that's the reason I wrote it. It's not about me getting business from the book. So if you're a loan officer out there, it's a great book to help you and your clients. And it doesn't say, come to me. This is me in the book. It's just about the process. So it'll be good for everybody.
Well, especially for first-time home buyers, even like, people that have purchased one or, two other properties, there's still a lot about the process they probably don't understand.
Well, the big thing is credit. Everything's changed, right? One of the things people really realize is, like, you hear on TV about Boost. We put people's rental information on their credit report. There's two different companies. We send that information to our clients. Mm-hmm. They add it on to their credit report, and it gives them 40 basis points, or 40 points, I should say, FICO score wise. You can up it just with that. That's huge for a lot of clients. It takes them from a 660 to a 690. If they're going FHA, that's a huge difference in rate. Yeah. If they're 700 going to 740, again, there's a huge difference in rate and mortgage insurance and everything else. And that's easy. But what people don't realize is Boost now, Experian Boost, you probably heard it on the TV and commercials and that kind of stuff. Have you heard about that? No, that's right. You don't watch TV.
I don't watch TV.
I forgot.
But
anyway, the Purple Cow, the dude that was the wrestler, they talk about where they're doing it now. The problem is, what people don't realize is the algorithm that we use as a lender is FICO 2, FICO 4, and this other one. Uh-huh. That is not part of it.
Gotcha.
And so if you do go that route, it doesn't help you. But if you go our route, it helps you. And we're not the only game in town that has access to these. Every person out there that's in my industry has access to it if they look for it. We just want to make sure you do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want somebody at 580. I'd rather have you at 620. Right, going through the process, because it's no longer manual underwrite. It's automated. Automated is like hours versus days.
Yeah. Well, and go back to the point of like kind of making this process a little more understandable, right? People get overwhelmed by the different steps that are like involved in a transaction, right?
Right.
And I say, I'm going to give you a brief overview. I like to meet people in the office, right? Meet them in person normally, and kind of give them a brief overview of everything. And I say, we'll go in depth, and I'll be very detailed as we go through each process, especially once we get offer accepted.
Mhm.
And it just seems to make life a little bit easier. Like, okay, I'm not going to worry about it till that comes up.
Well, and I go through, then I break down the disclosures, like the loan estimate.
Uh-huh.
And then when you get the CD, what does that mean? And I show them the forms, right? They're in the book. Because that's what most people have no idea what they're signing, because everything's electronic now. So you do it on your phone or you do it on the computer and you're not really reading it. I want you to understand what's being said on here and where the difference is. Like box 1 is a difference between every lender out there, can be a difference in cost and that kind of stuff. And that's where you need to look at.
Yeah.
And I explain that to them, because it's important to understand it, where most people don't even take the time. I explain impound account. I explain actual closing costs. I explain the stuff that every loan officer or mortgage broker, whatever you want to call yourself, should explain to their clients. And 9 times out of 10, I hear them say, what? They never said that to me, the person before.
Yeah.
What do you mean impound account? What do you mean closing costs? And that's part of my whole spiel. And that's what the book is set up, how I qualify somebody, basically. And then contracts, I talk to them about getting into contract and some of the disclosures you're going to see and what they mean. But I don't tell them everything about the real estate contract, because I'm not a realtor. That's not what I do. But I need them to understand that once they write a contract, it's an actual contract. They're in, that's why they do certain things.
Yeah.
And then I get into how to buy investment properties, right? Because I help some clients of mine do that in San Clemente, and I go through that process for them and explain to them how they can do that. So it's a nice little easy read, and you'll know way more than you did from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. Making a process easier for everybody to understand. I'm just tired of how complicated, or how some people in our industry just don't take the time to do that.
Yeah, they're impatient. Like you said, educating people is the best way to empower them, right?
Mm-hmm. That's why I do the radio. Right. That was the whole purpose of starting the radio show, was to educate millennials on why they should own a home, because most of them didn't think they should, because they saw their parents lose their home.
It's crazy, man. Like how much the millennial mindset has changed, right? Like, because coming from the rental side of the business, I saw and talked to plenty of people that were, dead set. Like, I'm going to rent my whole life. I think it doesn't make sense to own a home. I don't want to have a car. I'm going to Uber everywhere. And that definitely changed. COVID changed, the mindsets of a lot of these millennials, and they're young working professionals. They make good money. So they're ideal home buyers.
Right. Millennials make more money at their age than their parents did, or anybody else in history. Not dollar for, what I mean? Not like, but at their time, and the cost of everything and what they were getting paid, they make way more money. So they have more disposable income. And a lot of people go, well, things are so much more expensive. No, they're exactly kind of where they were back then. Things were unaffordable because rates were at 18% and other things. We're still in the same numbers. Mm-hmm. It's just different times. So, yeah. And, as rates improve, more and more people are going to come out on the market, and they're going to start making this the worst. So right now is the time. So, and that's why I kind of put the book to be released in I won't keep saying January and February. Instead of March and April, because that's when people are starting to really think about. In January, they're like Christmas and everything. They're like, I want my own place, and I'm planning my goals for the year. What's my plan? And they start looking into the process.
Yeah.
And that's also, this is easier for me when I'm qualifying somebody. I can say, hey, I have a book. I'm going to send it to you so you understand the process some more. And then if you have any questions, reach out to me.
Well, and something, for you first time home buyers out there, some people try to plan their lives out too much, right? And they say, okay, well, and I've gotten this plenty of times, I will start looking beginning of March. I'm like, why? What is the magical, month of March doing for you? Well, I'm just thinking that's the best time to buy a house. I'm like, well, it's a good time to list a house. If you want to buy a house, you need to buy something that's on the market right now and start looking before everyone else does. And as soon as they start looking at houses, and we go take a look at a couple of them, provided they're pre-approved.
Right. That's one of the biggest things. They need a pre-approved to see what they can buy.
And that's normally the biggest hurdle. Once people have that pre-approval and they go, wow, I can go out and look at something and I know my price range, that changes everything. But it's just getting people motivated and to call you and send in their paperwork, right?
Well, the worst thing I hear is like, is it a hard inquiry or a soft inquiry? It's like, all right, well, we can do a soft. It's only going to give me one score, and it's not really going to tell me anything. It's not going to tell me all your debts or whatever.
Yeah.
A hard inquiry is not going to affect the average person. Well, it affected me 5 points. Really? So what? You're at 760, right?
Yeah.
If you're at 620 and you're worried about it, there's more to worry about than that credit check. The credit check is good for 120 days. You have to fund in 120 days. So if we're doing this, and then you still have 2 weeks to have somebody else pull your credit, and it doesn't affect you anymore. It's the same pool, which a lot of people don't realize that you have up to 2 weeks, even though they say 30 days or 45 days, 2 of them are at 2 weeks. So just figure 2 weeks is what you have to shop. But if you get with the right people from the beginning, you won't need to, but there's nothing wrong with shopping to know. Because I tell people, you don't know what you have until you don't have it anymore. Right. It's like, when your girlfriend leaves you, your boyfriend leaves you. Right. I'm just saying you need to understand what you're getting. So feel free to shop me. I don't care. Right. You're either going to love me or hate me. Some people don't like me because I'm very direct and I'm trying to get you in the home and fix every problem. And I don't care if I offend you sometimes, and people don't like that. Then I have people who love it, and that's okay. I want people to be comfortable with who they are and who they're going through. It's just like certain people aren't good for every real estate agent, right? There's certain people who need more hand holding or more brutal reality of what's going on than other people want to give them. So
I like to start out with hand holding and then
you're a kinder, gentler person. So give it a few years.
I like to try. I like to test the waters and at least see where they're at. Right.
Yeah. But you're an agent. It's different.
Yeah.
So, and I know there's different loan officers and this and that. My goal is to get so many people into homes. That's my goal. Yeah. So many per month, help them get into homes. And that's it. And I want to help everybody I possibly can. That doesn't mean everybody's going to like the way I do it. And that's okay. That's why there's more loan officers out there than agents. And if I don't work for you, that's okay. Somebody on my staff might, or somebody else might, but just get in the process. I want you to own a home. I don't care. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
I don't want all your business. I just want yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was that?
That was a car place years ago.
Heritage Ford, I think.
I don't know. I don't know where that's from. I just remember hearing.
I remember thinking that's great. I saw that. Yeah. I saw it on a billboard.
I don't want all your business, just yours. Yeah. It's like, that's the best thing to say to real estate. I don't want all the business. I just want yours.
Yeah.
No, but it's stop worrying about it. Just go through the process, check out my book in February 14th and, or reach out to me and we'll talk. I actually sent out a PDF version to one of my clients right now that going through the process. I'm like, here, check this out. Make sure you understand.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, and off camera, we were talking about wire fraud, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that's obviously something we have to worry about once we get into transaction, right? So obviously there's a disclosure, that we go over with, and it's part of the purchase agreement, basically saying, hey, there's lots of fraud out there. Don't wire your money to just anybody who calls you, right?
Right.
And so for anyone who's not purchased a house, a lot of the deposits now are going to be wired. Right. You can still do an in-person one, but by default it's wired. If not,
you're talking about the real estate.
Yeah. As far as like
the EMD and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The earnest money deposit. Yeah. Once you get an accepted offer, you have 3 days to get your deposit.
Right. You can do a cashier's check.
Yeah.
You can do a personal check. They don't really like it, but a cashier's check or wire.
Yeah.
Right. And I always say the first time do the cashier's check because you might not know who everybody is yet and be comfortable.
Yeah. You can go into their office. Now, I mean, when COVID was still a big thing, right? Like they would have to meet you outside, or you put it in the drop slot, and then they have to send us a receipt. So everything's back to normal now. But so the biggest thing is, you need to have the instructions coming directly from the escrow officer, and they're going to email it to you, and then they're going to call you as well. And
they're going to do a secure email to you.
Correct.
They're not just going to email it.
Yeah, it's encrypted, right? But there's so many scammers out there and I've heard of these scams, right, where they'll just cold call 100 people a day and be like, oh, hey, this is the escrow officer. They're going to find somebody who's in contract. Then they get them to wire the money. It's, going to some other country. And once it's gone, it's gone.
Right. There's been a bunch of people who've lost money
and that's
from
scary,
those scams. And you just have to be really careful. And that's why sign loan documents, get the wire instructions out of the loan documents, take that to your bank and then send the wire. That way you don't have to worry about anything. You know for a fact that that's going the right place. Where you got it from was the actual loan documents. There is other ways, but I'm still worried no matter what. I would much rather have my clients wait until they sign to bring in the rest of their money. So do the cashier's check up front because you don't know everybody. You're right. But most escrow officers don't even work in the office still. They work from home now. Just like a lot of my staff does too, because that's the best. They don't get distracted. There's no water cooler chat. They get their work done and go do what you want to do. Who cares? You know,
I do get more work done at home.
Everybody does. I don't know how you do with all the kids, but when they're in school.
Well, today they're back in school.
I get more work done at the office. That's because everybody works from home. So, there's no interruptions. I can focus and nobody, you can turn your stuff down or off and push it and nobody bothers you. Nobody goes, can you go over this transaction with me? Yeah. But, some of that's going to change. I'm getting some more loan officers in here. And so, because I just find now there's a lot of loan officers who've never been trained, who don't understand the process. So
that's kind of scary.
Yeah. Well, no, I talked to one on the other day and in 5 minutes, I told them more than they learned in the last 2 years from other places.
Wow.
And I wasn't even training. It was just, they asked a question. I was able to answer it. Mm-hmm. And it's not, I've been through so much, right? I mean, during the last 2 years, 20 and 2021, I did so many loans. It was ridiculous how many loans we did. Yeah. And so you've ran into so many different scenarios, refinance or purchase wise, that you're like, okay, that's easy. That's how you fix that. Right. Because she was asking me a question about this. I don't know why we're having this issue. I was like, well, do this, this, and this, or call this. Right. It's just stuff we've come up with that a lot of people have not.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, enough about me. What about you?
I wasn't expecting that question.
No, I'm just saying, I've talked about, about the educating your your sellers on what they should list their house for, and then educating your buyers on what they should write an offer for is important, right?
That's probably one of the most frustrating things is, both, especially with all these TV shows, both buyers and sellers think that they know everything there is to know about the market and they're the expert, and you're just simply
there's no need for you, really.
The tool to go through, right?
And there's really no need for you. You're a waste of my time, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Until they get into an issue, and then they're going to thank the God that they have you.
Yeah. Or, when they're going for that dream home and we get their offer accepted, because I told them exactly what offer we need to write to get it looked at. So.
Yeah, but nobody ever comes to me going, give me the highest prices and the lowest and the highest rates and the most costs. No one ever says that. Yeah. They always say, I want this. Really shocking. I've never had anybody ask that. And it's when we do rates, we're off the loan amount, your FICO score, what type of program you're doing, that kind of stuff. And pretty much what some people don't realize is a lot of the rates are regional, right? People in the Bay Area don't make as much percentage wise as they do in other areas because the loan amounts are so much larger.
Gotcha.
So it just depends on where you are. That's why a lot of times there's not a lot of competition in some small towns because they don't make as much on that transaction. So they don't go there. You follow me? Whether that's good or not, but that's just how it is. So it's important to understand the process in the areas. We don't have that problem around here because we got so many. I think you have a lot of real estate agents. We have a lot of loan officers.
Yeah.
Right. And if they don't work full time, don't waste your time with them.
Yeah.
Because it's hard enough working full time and staying up with the stuff. I can only imagine working part time trying to stay up with the stuff. You know what I mean? The changes and this and that. Yeah. Huge difference.
Yeah.
That's what I got today. Sorry, I've been talking a lot about different things, but my book comes out February 14th. Finally got it done. Financial Freedom, Building Personal Wealth Through Home Ownership. I hope it helps some people, and that's the purpose of the book. Bobby, anything else before we go?
No, man. Congratulations.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Everybody make it a great day, and we'll talk to you next week.
Alrighty.